We will now start our first intervention. It is a great pleasure to welcome Cindy Gerhardt, Managing Director of Planet Bio, as our keynote speaker. Cindy will give us some insights of how to create a dynamic biotech ecosystem as they did in the Netherlands. Thank you very much, Cindy.
Thank you so much. Okay, super good support from the team. My name is Cindy Gerhardt. I'm the founder and the managing director of Planet Bio. It's an innovation ecosystem dedicated to planetary biotech in the Netherlands. I'm very honored to be here. I'm very happy to be here and to share my story with you. I am also very impressed by the few words I've heard so far from the municipality here. I had the honor to go to the toilet. It's amazing. I was there, I was like, whoa, this place is great. So I'm going to tell you learnings about the Dutch biotech ecosystem, but my learning to take away from today already is that I should really work on my toilets. They need an upgrade. A little bit on myself to understand who you are listening to. I'm one of those people that had always knew that she wanted to be a biologist. It seems to be something genetic. The gene has not yet been found. My mom had the same, and my daughter is currently doing her master in molecular sciences. It was always evident from very early stage that she would like to be a biologist herself. After studying, I did very academic, very fundamental work on the brain of the pond snail Limnaea stagnalis. After 5 years, I sort of felt this was maybe not the best way to spend my time if I wanted to do something with some relevance and impact in society. I moved to Paris, did a postdoc there on obesitas, fat cell metabolism, and started more and more to feel this urge to do something with impact and also with a societal necessity. Then I moved as a scientist to a big industry, food industry in Unilever, was a scientist there, started to get into food biotech, coming from pharma biotech, moved over to DSM, currently DSM Firmenich, a big B2B biotech company, and since 2019, I was all busy with this biotech ecosystem work. And it was initiated by DSM. I'll tell you all about it later in the speech. And the good thing for me personally is that I feel I've really found my purpose in doing stuff that has an incredible impact. And it helps a whole sector, it helps universities, it helps scientists, it helps companies, and it's a very rewarding situation to be working in. In those more than 25 years that I have been in biotech, I have seen the importance of biotech only getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And when I started, the whole planetary health element of biotech was not so evident. Biotech was mostly about human health, but we know today that the planet is also very ill, and we just talked in the break before about the One Health concept. We're all connected. Human health, planetary health, the health of the oceans, the sea, the land, the soil, the air, and we cannot just focus on pharmaceutical elements of biotech any longer. So I think I'm preaching for the converted here, so I don't need to explain too many about the benefits of biotech. But I do want to press here that we should all be very proud, and for those that are hesitating, are you in the right sector? Yes, you are. Please stay in this sector. The world needs you, and many more of you. So I agree with Pedro. Talk about it, speak about it, and share the beautiful stories that the biotech can bring. And then innovation ecosystems. This is where my heart is. We are all working in different bubbles, and it's clear that these bubbles all come with very different own dynamics. They attract own type of people. They have their own culture. They have their own goals in life. And those bubbles can be extremely different. And they have to collaborate, because otherwise you will never get innovation into society, especially if you are trying to disrupt particular industries. Food, for example, is a very, very, very good example. Cellular agriculture, making meat without animals, is super sensitive to the consumer, to the politics, to the industry. You can never do that on your own as a company or a scientist. So in the beginning, you may know, for those who are older, we always talked about the triple helix: university, industry, government. And nowadays we have added 2 more elements to this, the NGOs and everybody that funds us, because money is always so important and never enough. And well, we are in the middle of this at Planet Bio. And what I will do is I will take you through the learnings of Planet Bio in shaping this whole innovation ecosystem, because it's hard work to bring all these bubbles together. It's not easy. You have to be like a translator sometimes, and being able to really dive into one or another bubble to understand their dynamics. So in Delft, in short summary of what we did in Delft, I was working at DSM. DSM is on this industrial location, 7 factories, a pilot plant, a wastewater treatment plant, pretty close to the city, in a very busy part of the Netherlands, on the west of the Netherlands. An old site, 1869, the first baker's yeast factory was built there, and it was expanded. It's 40 hectares, it's a large area. And DSM was really worried about it, and the municipality as well, because DSM owned it all, and the municipality started to say, like, we need this place, we need this ground, and you're just sitting on it, you're not making use of it, we want this for housing or for something useful, but not do nothing. And that's when I was asked in 2019 to create an innovation ecosystem, a vibrant campus with startups and scale-ups and students and education and everything you want from a very old and rather ugly industrial site. And I started this with the idea, this is going to be very, very hard. And for some, with a lot of luck, I think, and a lot of energy and a lot of also convincement that this is what we should do, we managed to do this incredibly well, and we now have grown to 30 companies on campus. We have restored education. We have an enormous network. We're giving presentations like this internationally. And the secret of this success, I'm happy to share that with you, because this is something that every country and every ecosystem should do. So I have sort of taken 6 elements that are all important, and I will take you through the learnings of Planet Bio when we built in the past 5 years, when we built the ecosystem. It's about infrastructure, it's about buildings, places like this, and maybe even toilets. It's about money, it's about sharp focus, it's about people, services, and last, also about national collaboration and European collaboration in order to raise the impact of the sector. I'll take you through them one by one. So first, buildings. When I started my whole adventure at Planet Bio, my husband said, this is so old-fashioned. The days today are all remote. Everything is digital. Why are you still pushing on a physical place to develop something? I thought, yeah, that's actually a good challenge. But now, after a couple of years, I know how important it is to have a home base. And an ecosystem without a home, without buildings, is very, very, very difficult to make. It's also not about any home, any building. I have seen initiatives, and they ask me, how can you help me? I've got this old building, like DSM had. It's an empty building, we don't want to use it, we don't want to tear it down. Can we get some startups in there? Not easy. If you don't have an anchor company like we have with DSM, if you don't have a knowledge institute like we have with the TU Delft, it's very, very hard to just create an ecosystem around a building. Also, you need to have good accessibility, very important. Public transport is very important. Then, another thing we learned, if you have this space, space is not the same as space. We started with an old building. DSM gave it to me for free, and I built some really early stage startup labs, shared facilities at a very low price. Then a couple of super nice startups came in, they started to grow, and they said, where can I go to now? We are now growing to 40, 50 people. And I had to let them go, which was very, very painful. So we had to invest in early stage shared places, startup places, scale-up places. And at the moment we are collaborating, and I'll talk about that later, with a real estate partner, because we were so successful, we could actually sell the whole bunch of old buildings to this real estate partner. That comes to my last point. You have an ecosystem, you have to make money. I think, Pedro, you know about that. It's nice to have a place, but you need to earn money also. And rent is a good thing. I started to get rent from Planet Bio, but then when I made the deal with the real estate agent, I lost my rent. So I had to renegotiate the deal. I will do your marketing, I will do your acquisition, I will build your ecosystem. But you have to pay me, and also the companies, they have to pay part of their rent to support the ecosystem. And we'll talk about that with the money part. It's rare, but they do exist, ecosystems that have their own real estate. And it's very, very good, and it makes you very independent. So I would always try to get there, and maybe with bank loans, it is possible to get there, but it's not easy because typically ecosystems are small non-profit organizations. We are also small and non-profit, and banks don't like to loan you 60 million for a new building. The second best is the deal I have with my real estate partner. They pay me a decent amount of money to do my work and also get a little bit of the rental income. What we also should avoid, and I've seen many ecosystems getting trapped in there, is to have a real estate owner that is just there for the money and tries to put all kind of non-related businesses into your ecosystems just to get rent. Every topic I talk about, by the way, has many more things to talk about. So I'll be here till 4. In case you need to know more, I'm walking around. Second topic, money, money, money. Obviously, an ecosystem also needs money. I've talked to many people that put 1, maybe 2 people to say, sometimes even part-timers. This is my ecosystem manager. Forget it, it won't work. You need a lot of time and a lot of dedication, and a few people, at least 4 or 5 people to do this. Because if you remember the ecosystem with the bubbles, it's so much and it's so complicated. And if you lose or forget about one bubble, you're not in equilibrium and you're not going to be successful. So you have to make sure that you get money. And I'm so happy to hear your story, Pedro, about the funding of P-Bio, because municipalities should take ownership in funding their local communities, because it's very, very important for a municipality to boost your economic growth, your reputation, and it really helps. Within 5 years, we created hundreds of jobs for the municipality, but also the province. I was surprised, coming from Unilever and DSM, big companies. I never had dealt with public parties, and all of a sudden the province came with pretty good money, like millions, to help me renovating buildings, to help me setting up the organization. It's like, wow, never knew there was so much money there. It's difficult money. You need to ask for subsidies, you need to write all these reports in between. But it's sometimes, very often, free money. And very important also to get the commitment of your municipality and your province into the ecosystem. We did that, and you see below the founding of Planet Bio in 2020. We did it with DSM as a private partner, with the TU Delft, our university partner, with the municipality, with the province, and with a regional investment agent, which is also an important element to involve, because all those companies need funding. and they need early stage funding, and they will be helped, and that's a nice income for public parties or regional investors. Important thing that I learned, everybody has his own business case. So don't come with one story, because for one partner it's about jobs, for the other partner it's about investing in sustainability, for the third party it's about science, and everybody has its own benefit of the ecosystem. And then the last one, we don't only need money for ourselves as ecosystem, we also need money for our companies. So start, if you become a little bit bigger, start to connect very closely to investors, public but also private investors, because you have something to bring there. You have this really rich cradle of potential new growing companies. I have to speed up a little bit. The third one, focus. This is an important one because it's a very, very difficult one. It seems easy, but it's not. And in the Netherlands, we use biotech with colors. I don't think you do it here in Portugal, do we? Like red biotech, white biotech. You do? Okay. Because we also always feel a little bit bad and a little bit old-fashioned that we still use the colors, but it's deeply integrated in biotech, and it all used to be about red biotech and pharmaceutical and life sciences and human health, maybe animal health, but nowadays we are moving to all these colors. And what we have noticed that many ecosystems are dominated by life sciences, and then there's one or two of these planetary health or seed breeders in there, and they're lost because the dynamics are completely different. And I think one of the successes we did was focus completely on planetary health, fermentation, large-scale industrial biotech, and leave out the pharma. There's enough of them. There's pharma all over in the Netherlands. We are focusing sharply on this element, and it has been attracting many, many companies because they love to be together because their dynamics are different. And then, yeah, the last one, I'll get back to that. It's very important to collaborate on national level and, as I just said, find your regional hotspot, your strength, and don't copy the same things everywhere because it's going to lead to a loss of efficiency. People, this is my favorite topic because I always say it's people that are successful and not organizations. The same holds true for ecosystems. Ecosystems attract kind of special people because people need to be very communicative. They need to be like there for others, not so much for themselves. They're there to facilitate. And you have to, as I said, invest in your people. It's hard to get people to work for an ecosystem. They rather go for a sexy startup or for a big corp. Ecosystem, maybe you know that from PBio. It's like, what do you do really? and yeah, it's a hard sell, but if you find the right people with the right purpose, you can make the difference. Also for the companies, invest in talent, make markets for talent exchange, student visits, make sure that all those talents get to your ecosystem and have the collaborations with the knowledge institutes. And then the last one, invest in events, also very important. We have sort of started with, if everybody is on one floor, they will mingle. Won't work. They don't mingle. They're sitting in their office, in their lab, and they don't go out and they don't mingle. And that is so important. So what we do is simple things like a free ice cream. It gets everybody out, and then they start to mingle. It doesn't cost much. And we do our events, obviously. We'll talk about that later. My team now is 10 people. Fantastic. In my previous job, I had 400 people reporting to me in several layers, and I love this because you're 100 times more effective. Good. I need to rush. As I said, an ecosystem is a kind of a strange organization. You have to understand you're a facilitator. You're not the hero. You are the guide. And make sure that you always first and always listen to what your ecosystem needs, your companies in your ecosystem needs. Because it changes. It changes upon their stage, but it also sometimes changes in over time because of the sectors moving a little bit. Many service providers, as soon as you start to grow, they will want to join because they want to benefit from your ecosystem. They see a growing community of companies and they want to be involved in that. But be sharp on that, because sometimes they can ruin your reputation if they're not in the high quality that you want. So be proud of what you have and be selective on your service providers. Biotech is expensive. We also talked about that a little bit. We are in a very expensive sector, and we are also in an era, fortunately, where we do more and more of sharing. So also here we can share so much. We can share equipment, we can share chemicals, we can share toxicological storage. Share is a key word because it saves money and it builds the connection. And then in our case, because we are an ecosystem that is connected very much to large-scale production, and our industrial biotech startups need scale-up, we are particularly interested in connecting to the scale-up partners and the pilot plants. And pilot plants is a thing that I give lectures about. It's a whole different world, very, very tricky, very hard to make money. Very, very, very important, and we have now 3 pilot plants that we work with, the one on campus, plant 1, NISO in the Netherlands, and the Biobase Europe plant in Ghent. Good, the last slide, stronger together. Also very important, please collaborate on national level, because we can easily get soaked and very focused on our own region, and everybody knows each other, and we want to be better than the other region. But at the end, our countries are not that large, and we don't have that many people in the sector. So please come together regularly. We have 24 knowledge institutes in the Netherlands that teach biotech, 24. And we have managed to create it back to 5 clusters with focus areas. And those 5 clusters really are the knowledge center. They provide all the expertise, all the coaches and everything. Well, the 24 knowledge institutes still work on it, but we have clearly said, if you want to do something in oncology therapeutics, this is the core of the Netherlands, go there. It's painful sometimes, but it requires tough decisions, but it's very, very important to focus. Then, what we also did is teaming up. Like PBio is the perfect partner for you to team up. We have Holland Bio, it's the PBio of the Netherlands, and we've just started to constantly team up, because Holland Bio or PBio, they're national. They don't, I hope you are, although you seem to be quite regionally connected, but please be national there and make sure that PBio visits all the clusters in the country. Last thing, politics, very important too. What we have set up, and it works really well, is a very simple Signal, or could be WhatsApp, but we prefer Signal, group of policy makers, of influencers, and of people that know what is happening in the Hague, in the government, and in the Chamber of Representatives. And we work together constantly. There's going to be a motion in the second chamber. There's going to be this or that on the agenda. What do we feel? How do we provide input? But we do that on a national level without any competition. There is this IPCEI, European Biotech Initiative. Is Portugal involved? No, Portugal's not involved. It's a potential new European project to stimulate the biotech sector by removing the state support boundaries. We did it with everybody. We just came together, everybody. And it's so important that you can have very big influence. Last example, we had now Vision Biotech, the Dutch Vision Biotech 2040, signed by 6 different ministries, departments, because all of the 6 have said, like, biotech is everywhere, so we all need to be together to make a vision. And then you can create impact. And I think that is because we have an ecosystem that works. Okay, I didn't tell you about all the ecosystem partners because my time is up, but in summary, Planet Bio at the Biotech Campus Delft, ready for another 155 years of innovation in industrial biotech. We have a local place, but we also have a global network, and that's why it was my pleasure to talk to you and to hopefully inspire you on what we have done. Thank you so much. Oh, questions or not? Yeah?
I don't know if anyone has a question for Cindy.
Hi, Cindy. Good morning. Thank you very much for your great presentation. How did you come across doing, let's say, networking and building your ecosystem outside of the Netherlands, international ecosystems?
I think, let me answer that the best way possible. Yes, we have a national institute called the Agency for, yeah, basically if somebody wants to do business with the Netherlands, they come into the Netherlands through an organization, NFIA it's called, the Netherlands International NFI Agency, blah, blah. So companies that are interested in the Netherlands come to that agency, and that agency is connected to all the regional investment agencies. So all of our province have regional investment agencies. And if somebody comes with a mission from China with people interested in pharma, for example, they come in there and then they're like distributed over the country, and then we create a mission, we invite them to us. And actually, João, you Simon, you have been with us, some years ago, how many years? Yeah, a couple of years ago already. We had Canada over, we soon have South Korea over. And then we start to talk, and then I sometimes get invited back, and things start to work. Within Europe, I think I didn't mention that, but it's interesting. As soon as you are a cluster, an innovation ecosystem, you can also get European funding from several ecosystem subsidies. That also helps to position yourself within Europe, because what I noticed, we got one subsidy for cellular agriculture with other clusters, and from one thing comes another, and before you know it, you get like many invitations to join European cluster subsidies, too many. But the world is not that big, and the clusters that are important know how to find each other, and I think Portugal is not so much into it yet, and I hope it will be soon. Is that the answer? Yeah, long answer, sorry.
Thank you very much, Cindy. It was a great presentation, and I think very inspiring for all of us. Can you please tell us a bit more about what you also provide in terms of access to grey air talent? Because this is inside an industrial campus. DSM is a great anchor for all of this. And I can tell you from, let's say, outsider perspective, I think virtually any, let's say, biotech company that is continuing to grow will consider Planet Bio as an option to be there. Can you elaborate more on the importance of having a large industrial partner and also the kind of, let's say, experienced talent that you have around that sometimes is critical for a startup?
Yeah, it's hard work because we are on the side of DSM. DSM is a big, good piece of PR. Everybody knows them. They have hundreds of scientists. They have a fantastic knowledge base. but they're also very closed. And when you visited, I think the site was still closed. So you had to do a bit of an effort to get in, show your ID, please, can I get in? Now, after 5 years, we managed to open up the site much, much more. We separated industrial from innovation with a big fence. QR code, off you go. This is hard work with DSM as landowner. Also, when I started, it's a nice quote, it's a long time ago that I thought about it, but DSM said, oh, we need to set up a whole system to manage the IP risk, because you are going to get all these young people and startups on the site, and we have a major IP risk for our knowledge. I said, well, yeah, but the startups can be in every direction, so how do you want to do this? And we started, it was a nightmare to make it happen, and we said, forget about it, we'll just see when it happens, and case by case, it never became a problem. Once, within DSM, it's like an ecosystem. They have a science department, they have a business, they have regulatory, they have investment, they have an internal fund. All super critical people to understand the importance of the ecosystems, but they all, like I said, everybody has his own business case. Interacting with the venture group is super, super practical, because they look at startups, I look at startups, we combine them, they have money, I have space. Research collaborations are very, very interesting. For my startups, sometimes they just need an hour with a DSM scientist, and they are a year ahead, because their knowledge is sometimes not at the par of a DSM scientist. But you need to manage everything, because it's hard for them to know on what door to knock in a big organization like DSM. Is that answering your question? Okay.
Hi, Cindy. Thank you very much for your presentation. I have a question that has to do with education and training. And how do you see the role of a cluster such as yours, or a campus such as yours, not only for a physical space to incubate startups, but the role of educating and training in bioentrepreneurship companies of the community that want to, boost their open innovation programs? How do you see a campus like this having a role in established companies outside the physical space, but as an education and has offering a room for thinking about innovation for companies to do that outside their borders?
Yeah, talent development and making sure that talent flows in and out of your campus is the #1 reason why companies choose to be on a campus. The first reason is this is a magnet, not only for companies, but also for talent, and we need education to do that. So we have, I'm quite happy and proud that since that 1869 history of the Biotech campus, there was a lot of research, there was a lot of production, there was a lot of innovation, but there was never education. And we re-entered education at many different levels, starting with an education for operators. That wasn't there, and everybody is shouting for operators, and it's on national level. So they come to us, have an operators education in the pilot plant, and off they go again. We have a close collaboration with the technical university. They provide all levels, like undergrads, grads, PhDs, postdocs, and also something that is called an engineering doctor. I don't know if you have it here. No, you don't have it here. Well, it's very nice. It's not a PhD. A PhD is 4 years. Engineering doctorate is 2 years. And you teach biotechnologists to become a process engineer. And for 2 years, they work with one company or with 2 companies to completely calculate their scale-up. And they get the whole support from the technical university, but they're physically at a company. Incredibly important, and we managed to get some subsidy to support startups to to get an engineering doctorate student for them. We have collaborations with the lab, like sort of hands-on education. It's incredibly important to do this. And by the way, for those who are looking for money, is also something that resonates with public funders to work on the future of the people and education. Is that answering your question?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for a great talk. I'm trying to formulate the exact question I want because there's too many coming up, but all of this has to do which components do you need to build these buildings, because you showed us what would be a pentahelix, I guess that's what you'd call it today, but each of those can be decomposed in many subcomponents.
Yep.
And what I'm wondering is to what extent what you call the cluster is just the icing on a cake on something that was there already, that's spontaneous and cannot be engineered, or you can actually start from scratch and start planning it. Because in the region, for example, we've been trying to attract international companies to build R&D and manufacturing to Portugal, and they will tell you, no, the ecosystem is not mature enough. And then you try to build investors and they say, oh, the ecosystem is not mature enough. And no matter which particular component you try to bring, there's also always something missing. So, can you actually engineer a cluster?
A very nice question. Yeah, that is a very strategic question. When we started, we had two very big assets. The DSM, although it was a terrible site, it was still DSM with a good reputation, international global company, and the TU Delft with an international biotech reputation. That was all. DSM was doing surprisingly little, let's say nothing, with the public parties, except for having fights over noise and the sewer system with the municipality, but there was nothing close to a positive collaboration around an ecosystem. There were no startups. There were very little collaborations with the other like NGOs. There were no collaborations with any investor. But there was this base of DSM with the TU. And I could build it from there and really get everybody of those bubbles in there, but you need to have a base. And I have seen campus initiatives, ecosystem initiatives fail pretty badly because there were no anchor institutes that could support them. Large industry or a very, very good university. We were lucky to have both. You can do it with just one. But if you only have an industry, if you have a large industry, the large industry has to be opening up their facilities and their buildings to start with. If you only have a university, you have to have space and buildings to grow. Without that, if you are a university cramped inside of a city, no space to grow is hard. If you are a big corporate with a global reach, but you don't feel like opening up your facilities, it's also hard. I don't know the system well enough here, but I can imagine it's not easy.
Thank you, Cindy, for your presentation. Trying to zoom out a little bit and following on the previous questions, I was wondering how you see, so in the Netherlands, which is of course one of the most sophisticated life sciences ecosystem in Europe and in the world, you have these regional structures where you have the funds, regional funds, and that has, of course, supported much of the development that we've seen over the last 30, 40 years in the Netherlands. But in your opinion, making sort of, if we can, any sort of comparison between Portugal and the Netherlands in the life sciences ecosystem, how do you see this surge in the life sciences industry over the last 30, 40 years coming up? How do you think that has become actually relevant? And why? So speaking about the stakeholders that are needed to be involved, why did this become a relevant industry for the Netherlands? And we see it today, the impact it has. But how was the decision made from your point of view? And how can ecosystems like Planet Bio now, and there's many across the Netherlands, are actually the hearts, the multiple hearts of that ecosystem?
You mean in the last 30 years, what happened that made our national system be positive about biotech?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you made it relevant. It was not, right? Probably 40 years ago, and today it's a considerable chunk of the Dutch economy.
Yeah. I think, again, it comes a little bit back to what I said before. Having a history in a sector helps a lot. So we were once in the 17th century the discoverers of the microscope. And sometimes we think back to that. It was also in Delft as putting the seed in there for the future growth of biotech. So biotech, industrial biotech in Delft, also life sciences in Leiden, has been there for centuries. They gave rise to a couple of big, huge corporates like DSM, Firmenich today, and like Johnson & Johnson, for example, in Leiden also. So it's not that biotech wasn't there 30 years ago. What did happen was the growing importance of the relevance of the need of an ecosystem and national collaboration. 40 years ago, 30 years ago, there was definitely less interaction between the universities, the companies, and the politics. And we have just understood by doing that if we team up together, we can influence our politicians. And I was talking last Friday with Claire Scantleberry. I don't know if you know her. She's you know her definitely from Europa Bio. And we had a CEO dinner, very nice. All the CEOs of the community came together and Claire gave a presentation. And she was saying, we have to share our stories. We are too modest in a way. I don't know if it's biotech related, but we all love to be in the lab or we have to shout it out, and the opportunities become more and more and more important for the big future challenges of the world. I think the Netherlands is a bit ahead of other countries in the awareness of the need to find solutions for planetary issues. So there's a little bit more pool also for what solutions are going to help us in the future of our planet. That probably also has contributed. But it's a nice question, nice philosophy question, yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Cindy. I think
we need to go, yeah, sorry.
So thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.